In every generation, two prose bros are born, chosen by themselves to talk about Buffy. One of them's pretty vulgar and disgusting, while the other one's on track, but a little bit pretentious. This is the Prose Bros Visit Sunnydale, Season 3. Episode 3, Faith, Hope, and Trick. This song is longer than I expected. Still going. Yeah. It's a good beat. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Prose Bros Visit Sunnydale. I am Eddie Cruz.
And I'm Geoff.
And today we're going to do a badass episode of the show, of Buffy, the show that we do for the podcast.
Is it badass?
I liked it. Faith, Hope, and Trick.
Yes.
Season 3, Episode 3.
Yeah.
Season 3, baby. Yeah.
I think we did that we must be proud of that because we keep mentioning we're on season 3.
I'm just so happy. It's just like that Swingers movie when that guy's all like, Vegas, baby, and he's all excited.
You're so money.
I'm like, Season 3, baby. Really cool. Just like they were in that movie.
Okay.
So, Geoff, what was this episode about?
So, this episode in general is about moving on. And it starts out at school. So Willow, the Scoobies are going off campus for lunch because they're seniors now, and I guess that's a rule.
Mm-hmm. And Willow's totally freaked out by it, right?
Yeah, because she's, Willow, and she has to follow rules. And
yeah, cried when the crayon broke and all that.
Yeah, basically. So at any rate, they're going to meet Buffy essentially right across the street.
So it's like, okay, you're no longer confined to the school, so you go across the street. I guess that was what we did, right? There was like a Papa John's across the street from Coronado.
Well, if you don't have a car, I guess you have to either go to the Papa John's or Wiener Schnitzel equivalent in Sunnydale.
I gave up and just started eating like flaming hot Cheetos with nacho cheese dripped all over it, and those pizzas that taste like cardboard.
Can you still eat like that and feel okay?
No.
Like physically and mentally?
I mean, can I physically? Yes. Is it a good idea? No.
See, I feel terrible when I eat stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel terrible most of the time because of my eating habits, so it's nothing new.
The Scoobies are outside of school, and they're talking about this new boy for Buffy, Scott. And essentially, it's to try and get her to move on or move past everything that happened with Angel. But she's still not ready.
Yeah. They just basically are forcing... I feel like they're forcing this on her a little bit.
Well, Willow, right?
Willow is, right?
No one else seems to care?
Yeah, I would say Xander definitely doesn't care.
And Cordy...
Xander doesn't care about anything. Right off the bat, he walks up to the blanket that she put out for the little, picnic, and he just walks all over it with his shoes on. How inconsiderate. That really ruffled my feathers.
Which is fucked up unless you're at a concert and everybody has packed just the grass with wall-to-wall carpet, essentially, and you have to walk over it to get anywhere. And then people get all pissed off at you for doing so, but it's not my fault, man. You got, can't go around.
Where did that happen?
It happens, anytime I go to a festival.
All right.
It's happened at mostly ACL, because there's more hippies there than, a fun fest or sound on sound.
Yeah, I would hate that festival.
Yeah.
I would have peed on that carpet.
I stepped on some people with Birkenstocks, and they're all, hey, man. I was like, dude, you're wearing sandals to, a concert. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. All right, so anyway, after that scene, we see a limo pull up in Sunnydale at some random fast food place. And we get introduced to this character. He is an African-American vampire with seemingly a good amount of charisma.
Yeah, he seems pretty cool. I don't know who to... He's smooth like somebody else. He reminds me of somebody else, but he's been in a lot of stuff.
Santana.
It reminds me exactly of Carlos Santana.
That's that song. Just something about him in his first appearance. Just kind of a new type of vampire. Like, not one who's all about killing or like death or violence. He's
honestly,
just laid back.
Besides Spike, he's the first vampire that actually has charisma and is actually well developed. The first black vampire too, right?
I don't know about that. Maybe?
No, I think so.
Right.
What does it say that most of the vampires have been Caucasian and blonde up to now?
Well, he even makes a point of saying, like in Sunnydale, like it's mostly white people.
Yeah. So it was cool, but he's the first likable vampire for me since Spike.
Yeah, and instantly so.
Yeah, absolutely, right from the beginning.
So they pull up in a limo to this fast food place. We see another
It's
I
like
guess
in the shadows.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's a vampire, but all you can see is these cloven hooves.
When I first watched it, I remember thinking that it was the Master again.
Did the Master have Master had fingers? Because remember he
had fingers.
We had the conversation about him potentially killing somebody by poking out somebody's eyes.
Oh yeah, would that kill a vampire? I think not.
No. So they have some sort of conversation. He's all about wanting to kill the Slayer.
Yeah, the guy is essentially saying, like, I want Slayer blood. And I guess at this point you're kind of assuming that it's Buffy that you're talking about. Because that's every episode up to now. But it turns out to not be the case.
Yeah, which we find out later.
Mm-hmm.
So Trick, in one of his first kills, I thought this was pretty amusing. It's like this motif of using fast food and going to a fast food restaurant to kill somebody fast and eat them.
Which was part of the reason why I like this guy. He's got like a thing, you know? He like treats humans as Happy Meals. Like what Spike was talking about in the last season, this guy actually like full-heartedly believes and practices.
Which those kids or those people working there got to be like super greasy. That blood's not, you know.
Oh, maybe it makes it taste better. I like the way McDonald's tastes.
Maybe it's like super fattening, so he eats a fast food worker and he stays full, but he's like bloated full.
Yeah, it's like that MSG full.
Yeah.
You're like, ugh, I feel uncomfortable.
So after that, we see a dream sequence, and we know that because Angel's still alive.
Yeah, and he's wearing like a frilly shirt like he does. That was actually tighter.
Yeah, it was like
white, though.
It was like a white, pretty basic looking shirt. It wasn't really.
He looked like a basic bitch.
Yep. Yeah. Basic bitch
fucking
status.
Basic.
Yeah, definitely. So he's dancing with Buffy at the Bronze, and we know he's not back yet. So obviously it's a dream. Buffy stabs him, and then he kind of like freaks out, which is funny.
She doesn't stab him, right?
She stabs him
in the dream.
Yeah, remember, because he's wearing the white shirt, stabs him, and then you see blood coming out.
She doesn't stab him. He like talks about the fact that he went to hell, but there was no actual stabbing. He just starts bleeding.
Oh, okay.
He drops the ring on the floor, the little plastic ring, which we're gonna bring up later, because goddamn, that pisses me off. Cheapskate Angel.
We don't. All right. We're gonna get to it. We're gonna get this fucking ring.
We're gonna have that conversation about that ring. But he drops the ring, and then she explains to him like what happened, and he starts bleeding from his tummy.
He's basically,
and then,
go to hell, bitch.
Yeah, and when it goes like, go to hell, like all pissed off, and it pans down to the wound, and then goes back up to his face, and he looks like a zombie, and he's like, I did. I sure as hell did.
Okay,
that's what he sounds like.
Yeah, this dream sequence is just kind of
weird,
going off the rails.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have that to remind us that Angel is still a part of the show, and he is going to come back one way or the other. After that, at school, we have a scene in Snyder's office where Buffy and Joyce are meeting to basically say that, oh, you're back in school, and you're in school now because Snyder couldn't get his way.
Essentially, they went over Snyder's head, right? So somebody that's Snyder's boss told him, you can't keep her out, and he can't do anything about it anymore. So they essentially kind of mock him.
Yeah.
Literally mock him. Not even kind of. They literally say, na, 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 na. Joyce does.
Which, can I tell you, disappointing use of Snyder.
All right. Upon first viewing, I hated Snyder, right? So it was really gratifying to see him like defeated in this way. And when she says like na 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 na, I was like, yeah, fuck you, Snyder. But now I love Snyder. He's like one of my favorite parts of all these seasons where he's around. I love him. He's
pretty
evil.
awesome.
He's great.
You
know?
But he's not even like, he's like little bitch evil. He's not like real evil.
He's like that kid that would tell on you when you were kids that like you're like doing something bad, and he'd be like, I'm gonna go tell your parents. He's that kind of evil. He's a tattletale.
Can you see? I'm missing some Snyder. Can you give me some Snyder? What Snyder should have said in that moment to redeem himself?
He'd be like, look, you bitches. Look, you think you can come in my office and tell me what to do? I work for the mayor. And I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you dead, just like that vegan. Just like that vegan that made me put hot Cheetos in the vending machine.
I don't know why I'm so amused by that, but
it's not even a good.
It's not.
Even, it's not even like his voice.
I think that's why I like it.
It's getting worse. Like I'm getting farther away from the character.
And he's sounding tougher, but like I'm still enjoying it. So
yeah,
fuck it.
I enjoy doing it.
So Buffy's back at school. She goes to meet with Giles, and Giles is basically like kind of business as usual, or so we think. Willow and Buffy meet him, and he's talking about doing this spell. Mm-hmm. And Buffy basically wants him to make, maybe not a big deal, but at least to acknowledge, hey, you're in school, it's glad to have you back. But Giles is focused on this spell
it's like when
about
you get home
Akathala.
And you like want to do something or watch something on TV, and you forget to say hi to your loved ones, and they get all pissed at you. It's like that.
You don't say hi to your loved ones?
Sometimes I forget.
It's fucked up, dude.
Because I have something else in my head, like Giles.
I usually try to say hello.
Yeah, you gotta say hello.
Yeah. So Giles isn't being very welcoming to Buffy because he has to do this spell, right? This important spell.
Super focused on his spell.
So what was the spell?
It was a binding spell for the Kafla, or Akafla. Akafla.
But he doesn't really explain why Akathala needs to be bound.
He's like, to make sure that the portal stays closed.
Okay.
You could tell that he's pulling a ruse. You don't know at this point, but he's pulling a fast one over on Buffy.
And nobody knows, neither Buffy, like you said, nor Willow.
Yeah. So Willow's really, really stoked. She's like, oh, I can help you with the spell. And then he's like, why are you must not be, fucking around with magic, Willow. That's my job.
Is that was like kind of Tom Hardy. That was like a little Bane-esque.
Willow, you must not be fucking around with magic.
I think I like that just as much as the Snyder.
So she's like, no, I want to fuck around with the magic, and I can float pencils, and like I turned I made fire out of ice, which you shouldn't do on a bed because he destroyed her comforter. And he's like, stop it, and he hits her on the head. He didn't do that,
but yeah, she's super eager about it.
Yeah.
So after that, we have a scene at the Bronze, and the Scoobies are all there. Willow is there with Buffy, and it's another ruse from Willow to get Scott there so they can interact with each other, because she really wants to set them up.
And I think that's the fact that she finally has a boyfriend and she wants somebody to share boyfriend time with. Like double dates and whatnots.
Well, they mentioned that even when they were walking to Buffy at that picnic, they were like, all right, uncouple, because we don't want to make this weird for Buffy.
But in reality, I think it's more like they want to make it less weird for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it's deep.
I can see that. I can see both things, where she does want to make it less weird for herself, but she wants her to be happy.
I agree.
She's not like Xander, who's just kind of like a selfish human being at this point.
Yeah, he really is. And very, very horny.
Yes.
Can't get enough of that six.
Speaking of right now, we see Cordy, and she's slut-shaming some girl who's dancing out on the dance floor.
And the girl's dancing with a weirdo, right? Like a disco.
They make some Casey and the Sunshine Band reference just because of his dated clothing. And it sends red flags out to Buffy. It's like, oh shit, this is a vampire.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the couple leaves, and Buffy and the Scoobies run after to essentially thwart this vampire's plans of, I don't know, eating.
It's funny because they all like get outside at the same time, but when she gets while on her way out, she gets confronted by Scott. Not confronted, but she runs into Scott, and he's like, "Hey!" That's when I was making that joke about her maybe having to take a shit. Like, hey, I gotta go take a shit. Let me alone. That's what I would have said.
Yeah, because Scott was saying like, "Oh yeah, if you want to meet me on the dance floor, we can dance, whatever." Yeah. And he kind of just pops out at her.
Yeah.
Like, a little too eager.
Kind of like Ken in that Anne episode.
Not as bad, but close.
Hey, Buffy!
I find Scott annoying at this point.
Yeah. And plus, I think that there can't be a lot of short men. And, we already got Oz. We don't need another shorty.
Is he short?
He felt really short to me.
Huh.
He, like, when I think about him, it's like Warwick Davis. Peter Dinklage, just like real short.
We need to pay attention to the shoes Buffy is wearing because that would be the indicator.
Yeah, maybe. Because
if she's wearing like wedges or something,
they don't ever pan down though. Because she's always wearing high heels, right? Because she's super short.
I think she's like 5'2", 5'3", and if she's wearing high heels or wedges,
taller than Oz.
She could be like 5'6" or 7", right?
Yeah.
And then if Scott's a little bit taller, he could be 5'9" or 5'10". So
that's true.
Anyway, she basically is like, does she make an excuse why she needs to run out?
Yeah, she's like, "You're too short."
Yeah, she says, "You're too short."
She's like, "I gotta go take shit."
Yeah, they all run out to slowly stake this vampire. Nobody's really in a hurry to get there, I think.
Yeah, well, they all meet up outside, and they're like, "Where'd you go?" And Buffy first walks the wrong way, and then they hear a noise in the alley where it would be obvious, right? If you walk outside and they're not there, well, there's an alleyway to my right, or there's nothing to my left, and they go left first, and then they go right. And when they get there, they encounter I guess disco era 1970s vamp putting a woman up against a wall by her neck, and then he's like, "Stop struggling, and I'll make this painless," or something like that. And she's like, "Oh, this is gonna hurt," and kicks his butt or whatever.
Yeah.
She does some unnecessary moves where she jumps on something before she kicks him, and
then all the Scoobies see, and she's already familiar with Buffy, which is kind of nice.
Turns around and goes like, "Oh, you must be Buffy."
Great use of Oz in this scene because it's like, "Oh, there must be a new Slayer." Cut all the bullshit. What's going on? Explanation.
Yeah.
I know it kind of ruins that shock of another Slayer, but I don't want to go through that again.
That's how I feel about Spider-Man, man. Spider-Man, man.
Spider-Man, man.
It's a new album, Spider by Man.
Okay.
I went to go see it, and I loved it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just kind of fucking over Spider-Man now.
Really?
There's been too many depictions of him in the last 10 years, in my opinion. Or the last 20 years. Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, the new one. I'm glad that this one left out the Uncle Ben stuff, and with great power comes great responsibility, but it's kind of played out. So I'm glad that it did it the way it did, and I really liked it, and it is the best Spider-Man that's been done. I just don't really care.
I need to go back and watch the second Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, because I remember that being really good, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, part 3 was garbage, part 1 was okay.
My issue with I love the movie.
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of over the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's cool, and they made the Vulture a cool character.
10 more years of it.
Yeah. Why can't we just have
self-contained movies?
Exactly.
Or little blurts. I would like if a couple movies kind of blended together. I like the idea of Wolverine and Deadpool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the fact that they're creating these gigantic things that are going to last 10 years, because then you get fucking Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman, and you're kind of fucking stuck with them. Anyway, let's not get into that. So Faith turns around to Buffy and goes, "Hey, you're Buffy." And blah, blah, blah. Buffy pulls out a stake. Faith goes, "Okay, borrow that." Grabs it, kills the vamp, and then looks like a badass doing it, right?
Yeah, which is that scene. That was the first time when she's, "Oh, can I borrow that stake?" I was like, You're overreaching, girl.
Yeah, you can't just take somebody's steak.
Yeah, I felt, even watching it right now, I was like, just borrow her steak? That means something to her.
Yeah, I don't think that I felt that way just yet, but And I have a little bit to say about her friends and family, about how they treated Buffy during this whole situation. Was kind of weird. But yeah, so she's already taking from Buffy and using her stuff to do her job.
Yeah.
So Buffy's kind of dumbfounded right off the bat that there's another Slayer. She can't really say anything. And while she's not saying anything, the other Slayer takes a stake or borrows a stake from her, slays a vamp, and all of her friends are kind of in awe of her.
And it's like, I don't know, would you compare it to, say you're at work and they hire somebody else and it's like, oh, I thought I was the only person who can do this job. Somebody else comes in you were unaware of, and maybe they're potentially doing a better job, and then all your friends or coworkers really like them, and you're like, I don't know yet.
That's what happened to me at Barnes & Noble. Like, I thought I was like the best at my job ever, and then I got Bobby hired, and he was way better at my job than me. And everybody liked him more. But that's okay, because I really love him.
So all the Scoobies go back to the Bronze, and Faith is mid-story about... what was the story about?
The story was awesome. The story is basically like she's sleeping in some seedy motel and hears a scream outside, runs outside to find like a van full of nuns and priests and 3 vampires attacking it. And as she goes out, she realizes that she's completely naked and kills all 3 vampires in the nude. A priest hugs her and then they both get arrested for... I guess public indecency or something. Which is really out there, in my opinion, for a story.
And I'm sure she's kind of exaggerating to bits and pieces. Xander is eating it up.
Yeah, he loves it. I mean, he loves it all the time. When a bad guy comes into town, he either makes out with it or, like Ted, eats all the cookies. You know what I mean? Like, Xander's just like, yum, yum, eat him up. Like, I don't care. He's not a bad guy until, like, they're like, oh, well, I'm going to eat your head.
Unless it's, like, Spike or Angel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Unless it's a potential, like, hot dude that might take his place.
Yeah. He's threatened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and this was fucked up, too, because Cordy's right next to him. Mm-hmm. And he's like, tell that story. Any more stories about being naked? And he's loving
just
this.
Like, eye-fucking her the whole time, too.
Yeah.
Like, not cool, man.
I feel like this is, like, super cool of Cordelia. There should have been a scene where she's like, fuck you, dude. You're an asshole.
Yeah. Seriously, but at the same time, I think she's, like, kind of used to that treatment from guys. You know? Kind of used to guys being dogs. So I think she thinks this is normal behavior.
That's sad for her. And it's also shitty.
I mean, yeah. But at the same time, if you look at her future in the series... it's fucking sad. She has a sad story, man.
Yeah. It's so weird thinking of watching this now and thinking about Xander, because before he was like the everyman, every geek. He was the person you're like, yeah, Xander, and seeing him now, it's like, dude, you have some like serious character flaws.
Yeah.
Like, this is not cool of you to do. I think
also, I mean, it's actually cool too in the whole introspection of like when you think about Xander being the good guy and everybody relates to Xander, I kind of like the fact that he's kind of a dick because we're all kind of dicks. Like, we all think that we're like, oh, this innocent dude or whatever, but the truth is we're like, most dudes are assholes.
And maybe just oblivious to that fact too.
Exactly.
Particularly at that age.
That, you know, because you're wearing a corduroy jacket, you're not being a fucking douchebag.
Yeah, you're not. It's like, oh, those quote jocks or whatever, they're the assholes.
Yeah,
but you're an asshole too. You're just as much.
Yeah.
So in that scene, Cordy also explains what happened with the Slayer and why there's another one. I thought it was another amusing, like, exposition right here from Cordelia. Yeah. Okay.
Really easy way to get people on the page real quick. And also a way to, like you said, skip it all. You know, not have to go through the lengthy explanation, like a whole episode about...
No more origin stories.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, we all... If you want to know the whole origin, go back and watch season 1 kind of thing.
Yeah. So after that, they're all in the library, and Faith is meeting Giles for the first time. And being, again, kind of sexual, like hitting on him, right?
Yeah. She's like, if I had known they'd make him that young, I would have requested a transfer.
And Giles seems flattered, at least. He has like a shit-eating grin.
I would fucking request a transfer out of the Hellmouth.
Which is weird that he's all smiling like, yeah. It's like, dude, calm down. She's like 16 or 17.
They used to call me Ripper.
So they're all in the library, Faith hits on Giles. After that, I don't remember what happens, but I think Buffy has to take a test.
Yeah,
and
the whole thing is she wanted like Willow to help her study for this chemistry test, and then Willow's like, "Oh, while you're taking your test, you can come with us and tell us more stories." And like essentially Buffy's friends are no longer going to help her with this test, and she's going to have to go take the test alone. And she just sits down, I guess, study.
And it's one of the first times we see, or that I've noticed, Buffy is dealing with responsibilities and Faith gets to be carefree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is like a running theme throughout the rest of this season. And I think on till maybe...
all the way through.
Yeah.
Faith has shirked her responsibilities this whole time, and Buffy has to deal with not only the responsibilities of being a slayer, but the responsibilities of being a father, the responsibilities of being a daughter, of being, a best friend, and all these things, while Faith just gets to, wrestle alligators and save priests while in the nude. Literally carefree.
Yeah. So the Scoobies go with Faith, and then Giles keeps presses Buffy about what happened.
Yeah, because he wants to know.
I need to know
specifics. And I think that he at this point, in my opinion, realizes what happened, but realizes also that he can't ask her, flat out, "Hey, did you kill Angel when he had a soul?" Because I have a feeling that he understands that that's what happened.
Yeah. Or
just needs her to tell him.
So you think he knows, or just knows something is up that she hasn't said? Like, well, I didn't get the impression
I think
that
basically there's only a couple of ways that could have gone, and he knows that Willow tried the spell. He knows that Buffy killed Angel, but why else would he need to press her on this other than the fact that he thought that something was up, that her character, her demeanor, she's hurt and it's obvious. So for him, I think that he really realizes that she must have had a really rough time with this, and it wouldn't have been that way if it had just stayed normal Angel, right? Or evil Angel. If he had stayed Angelus and she killed Angelus and sent him back, no harm, no foul. Why would she be upset? But if she's like the only real, like, he's smarter than we are, right? And we can put that together. So yeah, I think that he
maybe he's like, they bring up Willow and magic, and maybe it's for the same purpose. It's like, oh, Willow is a capable witch. And you're right, maybe he did piece it together.
And also, this is a really good example of why Willow shouldn't have fucked with it, right? Because if she hadn't given Angel his soul back, she wouldn't have put Buffy through the hardest thing she's ever had to go through in her life. She just would have killed Angel Lewis, and it would have been over.
Yeah.
But then we can make the fucking dope-ass spin-off.
Yeah. So after that, we see another scene where people are still pushing Scott on Buffy.
Literally, they're pushing him on her.
Like, yeah. He just shows up and is super annoying.
Yeah. He's really into Buster Keaton, which, I mean, I get it. Buster Keaton was dope. The original Jackie Chan. I dig his movies, but, not the Southern sympathetic racist stuff. But the other stuff's cool. But good Lord, I hate people that are into Buster Keaton. Like, people that are like, oh, I only like the fucking, like, the old movies. Like, shut up, dude. Like, those movies are cool.
Like, yeah. I don't think I've seen a Buster Keaton movie that I'm aware of.
You should probably, like, watch the highlights on the YouTube. You'll get the gist.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest, if we're talking about old school, like, I'd rather watch a Who Done It by Abbott and Costello. At least that's funny. Or The Sting. I don't know. I'm getting farther and farther away from Buster Keaton because that shit's so old.
Yeah, and it does seem a little weird
Go watch
this...
the Lumiere brothers and act like a fucking... filming a train is amazing. I get it. It's just past. Time passed.
It does seem like... I think it's weird to me that they're all aware of who Buster Keaton is as 17-year-olds, particularly Buffy.
Well, that's why I hate that, because I knew kids like that.
But do you think Buffy would know?
It'd be more like in your 20s. I don't think Buffy would know. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah,
my sister was super into Shirley Temple. I'm pretty sure she can, like, recite every movie Shirley Temple was ever in.
But your sister wasn't a Slayer. Buffy has, like, basically a full-time job.
You don't fucking know that.
I do not know that. I do not know that your sister is
not the Slayer.
Yeah.
She might be.
May or may not be. So after that, we see a factory scene. I guess whoever comes into Sunnydale, if you're the big bad, if you're a bad, you get yourself a factory because there's a factory district and lots of empty factories.
Or a mansion. Gothic mansion or factory. You get one or the other. It's almost like you get your choice. And like I would say 80% go with factory for some reason.
And are they right next to each other?
They're right next. It's like
a warehouse.
Yeah,
something.
The mansion's
I don't know.
on top
Fuck
of the
it.
factory.
We finally get to see the clothed vampire, his face, and he's going off about Slayer blood, and we realize it's about Faith, and they have some history together.
And he points at his eye, and she's like, "She's gonna pay for what she did to me." So you assume that she fucked up his eye,
which I don't know how or why.
It looks like an axe.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
To me.
That's way better than her missing on a stake or with a stake and just...
I would say like throwing an axe from far away while running away kind of thing.
Yeah, okay, who knows. So at Buffy's house, Faith is there and she's charming the shit out of Joyce.
I don't think that she's charming the shit out of Joyce. I think
so?
Joyce is seeing a prospect into slaying that she's never seen before. She's seeing a window into her child's life. She's getting all the answers that she can't get out of Buffy from Faith.
But, okay, yeah, I do agree with that. But I do think the entire Scooby in general are charmed by
absolutely.
Faith.
Yeah, she's cool. She's new and shiny.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, Joyce, like, this is where I start getting upset because, like, her friends who know that Buffy's gone through this traumatic fucking thing in the last couple of weeks, right? Like, know that she at least wigged out so much that she left town and are now completely ignoring her. And always, like, to the point where, like, Faith bumps into Scott and Willow's like, well, if you're done with him, maybe she can fuck him.
Do you think that they still don't know how to deal with Buffy? And
I think it's easier with Faith because she's so, like, easygoing. You know when you meet somebody that's like that and you, like, kind of fall into the allure of a person that, like, doesn't give a fuck, but the truth is you kind of got to give a fuck in this world, right?
Yeah, and plus, being a Slayer to Buffy has been about the burden of responsibility for so long.
Exactly.
And it got super dark with Angel towards the end, and we see this Slayer, this new one, the opposite of Kendra.
I am the vampire slayer.
I pointed at Eddie. But so the opposite of Kendra, and she's not burdened by this responsibility. She physically gets off on it.
Yeah, she gets horny and hungry. Yeah, and she has, assumedly, more than one shirt.
Yeah, she has. Maybe
she has like a backpack full of shirts.
Maybe only one pair of pants, though.
Yeah.
I think it's just the red leather ones. Which,
hey, that's my favorite shirt. That's me only shirt.
When I think of Faith, I think of her in those like red leather pants, which have to be pretty hot. Like they don't breathe, right?
Yeah, especially since they're not probably real leather.
I mean, Sunnydale's hot. It's Sunnydale.
Yeah. And apparently this school is gigantic too, which is something that you kind of notice more and more. Number one, I mean, students are dying left and right, and you know, there's no real like drop in attendance. It seems to the fact that like Buffy's meeting new guys. Like I knew more people at my school. My school had a fuck ton of people. Our school.
I think they mentioned something about Scott. He wasn't new, right? He
wasn't new. He was just around, and they're like, "Hey, he seems to like you." That random guy we've never seen before.
Yeah.
And then you have all these other characters showing up in like upcoming episodes and previous episodes. What happened to... We've talked about Emily Dickinson guy.
Yeah, he's either around or dead or...
He's definitely being fucked by fishes in the ocean.
Maybe.
Right? He's one of those guys that randomly maybe like got picked up by the fish guys, or maybe he shot himself in the head during the Sadie Hawkins dance. Who knows? But there's people at the school she hasn't met yet.
And I'm ultimately fine with that. Like having a group of friends, it feels to me like they're so intimate, nobody else outside of the group really matters.
I agree with you, but at the same time, like Sunnydale can't be that big. It's supposed to be like a small California town, right?
It is, but we know it's fucking huge, dude.
A metropolitan, like a complex is ridiculous. They probably have like 17 Starbucks in that bitch. Definitely a Whole Foods.
Maybe. A Krispy Kreme for sure.
Oh, yeah. Krispy Kreme for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, do you want to go back to Buffy's house where Joyce, I don't know if Buffy pulls Joyce aside or what happens, but they go into the other room and they start talking about Faith and the whole situation.
Yeah, so she's like, oh, well, are there more Slayers? And she's like, well, no. And she finds out at this point that Buffy has died, and that's why Faith exists. So when she finds that out, she's like, what, you died? And she's like, I'm not okay with this. I hate your life. I'm not okay with you dying. Which
is, and it's
redundant.
Well, I liked this scene because we've talked about Joyce being a bad mother and a bad parent a lot of the time.
Bad person overall.
And then you start to realize, like, oh, we tend to harp on her not being aware that she's a Slayer, but recently, within the last several episodes, and this one in particular, you directly get the sense, it's right in your face, that, oh shit, Buffy kept this from her mom. And she kept these major events. She didn't let Joyce in. And I think that's why she likes Faith so much, because she seems like an open book at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's charming, and it's, like we said, a doorway into Buffy's life from the side. You know? She can go around the back with Faith. That sounds
Whoa.
Yeah, hello.
Xander might have.
Ayo.
So, yeah. Who knows about that? After that, Buffy goes out on patrol with Faith, and you start to feel this tension building until they get into an argument, a disagreement about Angel. Is Faith basically saying she's like a stick in the mud, or like she's trying to figure out what's wrong with Buffy, right?
The whole thing is, I mean, Buffy's acting really, really shitty towards Faith even. I mean, definitely not welcoming. She's acting very selfish and doesn't want to even, like, share her friends, and to the point where she's acting like she owns other people. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, so, and I'll say this. Kendra felt like, I don't know, maybe not so much a partner, but she felt like she had some sort of union with her. And Faith feels like a rival. She's treating her like a rival, not like a partner.
The whole thing is that Kendra was the opposite in Buffy in the opposite way that Faith was, right? So if Buffy's the middle, the Libra of the situation, if you will, the scale, then Kendra's better than Buffy at being a studious Slayer. And Faith is worse than Buffy and Kendra, right?
Yeah, Kendra is super, like, uber responsible.
Exactly.
Studies.
Only has one shirt.
Yeah, only one shirt. Buffy is in between, because it's not like she studies, but she does train. And Faith just seems like, I don't know, she wrestles crocodiles naked for fun or whatever.
Yeah, she wasn't naked while she wrestled the crocodile, by the way.
Okay.
She makes that apparent. She says the crocodile was.
Because, you don't want to get Xander even more worked up.
Yeah, that hard ass fucking painful boner will just explode at the top.
Ew. So while they're having this big argument, a bunch of vampires come out, and Buffy pushes them aside, pushes Faith aside, and starts fighting with most of them.
She takes on 2, Faith takes on 1.
Yeah. Well, she takes on more than that. She takes on several. But at any rate, Faith kills one and gets distracted trying to beat the shit out of one.
She's like, just starts... this is where I start getting a little armchair psychologist on Faith. Because first she yells, my dead mother hits harder than you. Right?
Yes.
She yells that at the vampire while she's hitting him. And then she starts beating the shit out of one of the vampires. Kind of just like a ridiculous amount. Like, all right, he's gone, he's out, and she keeps on just punching him.
If this were an MMA fight, most refs would have stopped it.
Most, maybe, probably not in today's MMA world. She's hitting her, and she's yelling, "You can't touch me," which you meant to say kind of like an MC Hammer, kind of like you can't touch this.
You said MC Hammer. I did not say MC Hammer.
Yeah, but it's so comical to me that with those pants she would say that. And I thought of it more like maybe she's been abused, either physically and beaten by a male, maybe, or maybe even sexually abused in some way, and it's like unleashing on this guy, that hatred. Because she like goes into rage mode, right? She's not listening to anybody around her.
Buffy's getting pinned down.
Yeah, and almost killed. And the guy says, taquitos? She says the bad guy's name. Yeah, he's like, in the name of burritos, I'm going to fucking kill you. Yeah.
Carquitos.
Carquitos.
Carquitos?
Carnitas. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that a lot better, and knowing what happens with Faith, but I feel like it's more comfortable for me to say, like, oh, you can't touch me, like she's a badass.
I can't touch this.
Like she's like a badass, and she's like, her fighting skills are on another level, because it makes me feel uncomfortable to think that this girl got possibly sexually abused, and maybe that's why she's like hypersexual.
Yeah. I mean, that would make a lot of sense, man.
It does, and I think you're more than likely right, but it's still like, it's very uncomfortable, and it's kind of heavy, and it's right underneath everything. It kind of gets like passed over in the episode unless you're really paying attention. Nobody really acknowledges it.
She's also like another really like tragic character, even though she comes out good in the end. But she's a tragic character because she's never had anybody, right? And she can't really trust anybody, and she turns to the dark side before she gives anybody a chance. You know, it's one of those things where her whole life she's been shit on by everybody that she loves, watched her slayer die in front of her, which we'll get to very soon, and then like essentially has nobody left in the world, right? Except for herself.
And it's so interesting that you see Faith as a super fleshed out character already, whereas before, when we saw Kendra, there was nothing.
No, just a Barbados Slim reference that we feel really weird and uncomfortable using.
And already she feels this way. It gets even more fleshed out, but I think that's amazing.
She also has another accent that I don't like, but I'm okay with it.
What do you mean?
She kind of does this kind of Brooklyn thing, but slips back into Canadian constantly.
Is she Canadian?
It feels like.
She had that weird, like
blah, blah, blah. Hey, a boot, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's mentioned Tim Hortons like 4 times.
Yeah, I'm not... What accent does she have?
She goes into this like Brooklyn accent, doesn't she? Like this tough girl accent later on.
It's a tough girl one, but it's not like
heavy on the hey, what you doing? I'm gonna get some cocaine.
It's not like what's his face that you liked.
Which one?
The angel person.
Oh, Whistler.
Yeah, it's not like Whistler.
Even though I think she's wearing the same pants.
It looks better on her.
Yeah, she looks pretty good.
Yeah. Really nice hair in this episode. I liked her hair. She, for the most part, she has really nice hair.
I had a huge crush on her when she was in that movie. When I was still age appropriate, I was the same age as her in that movie, True Lies.
Okay, like you have to mention that.
Like, well, it's hard to say. Like, as a 34-year-old man, I loved her in True Lies.
Yo, I watched it last week. Oh my god, dude.
It's like one of those weird things where you're like, I like was like watching The Professional, and I was like, when I first watched this, I thought Natalie Portman was hot, but I can't say that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, me too, because we watched
she was the same age. I was 12. She was 12.
We watched it at the time. But if you're saying, I guess you have to specify at what point you watched these movies. Yeah. You're like, oh, I finally watched The Professional, and Natalie Portman. God damn, like that is inappropriate.
Oh man. Oh, also saying that you like the prequels of Star Wars, and it's very inappropriate as well. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah.
Just saying you liked those movies is inappropriate.
Yeah. Stop it.
Yeah. So at school, Buffy recaps the whole taquitos affair. Mm-hmm. Giles kind of gets a little vamp study boner when he realized Kakistos is like this badass. They're always just a badass. Like,
yeah, right? It's like no matter who they are, they're like, here's the master. And now there's a guy that's like older than the master, we assume, because he has cloven hooves for hands and feet. He would have to be older than the master, right? Because the master had normal hands.
Yeah, I read something about this. I think Joss Whedon, this isn't in the episode. He was trying to explain, not that they're so old, but they're old, and then they start to devolve because they're such monsters.
Oh.
This isn't in the episode. It's some interview that I read.
Inside the mind of Joss Whedon.
Which I kind of like it. It's a little more simple, just to explain that they're old.
I think that makes more sense. The whole thing, as they get older, they turn more into a monster. I like that.
I do, but I wish that was in the show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically, they don't really get around to it because they don't have to, right? That's the same thing that happens in that movie Daylight with Ethan Hawke.
Daylight, never seen it.
Ooh, it's pretty good. It's exactly like Gattaca, but with vampires.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I sometimes confuse those two movies.
I was thinking Night Watch, and Day Watch.
Oh, Day Watch was awful. Night Watch was great.
I like Night Watch.
Yeah, Day Watch was, and then there was another one where it was like, oh no,
Baywatch.
Yeah, Baywatch.
Night Watch, Day Watch, and Baywatch.
There was
all
the third
same universe.
book in the series. I don't know if they turned it into a movie or not, but it was like the Watch of the Middle or something. I don't care.
Anyway, so at school, Buffy leaves the library, runs into Scott again, and this is when they start talking about the whole Buster Keaton thing. Mm-hmm. She finally agrees to go on a date with him, and he gives her a gift. He gives her a ring.
Oh my god!
And let's talk about this ring, right? It's either looks like or is the same ring that Angel gives her the night that they, I feel weird saying made love. I'll just say the night they boned and he lost his soul.
Yeah. The night they both lost something dear to them.
Yeah.
I'll give you my opinion about it. And that is that Angel's a piece of shit who has nothing left over from any previous life. So when he gives her this ring, doesn't he say something like it's a family crest?
I don't think it's a family crest. I think it was just something from like his culture previously.
He's like, yeah, this is, it means, does he say it means friendship?
It's like, it means friendship and a whole bunch of things combined.
Yeah,
I forgot
it's
specifically.
Like the crown means this, the heart means this. I'm starting to think, in my opinion, because I hate Angel, this is bullshit. And
but Angel's not a piece of shit.
Oh, he is.
I don't think he has anything saved from the time that he was originally human because he was a vampire. So I don't believe it's saved from that time. But sorry, go on with yours before I...
So basically, I think that he went to a Spencer Gifts and bought the retro ring that they have like 15 of. You know, and they sell one and they put a new one there. And he gives it to Buffy, and Buffy's like, oh my god, the ring, I love you. And they bone, and then it's a symbol of their thing, and then Scott comes up to her and is like, hey, I got you this. It stands for friendship, and it's the exact same ring, bought at the same shitty, like, mall kiosk.
But that's the thing, you don't think it's the exact same ring?
No.
It's just
a...
like mass-produced something.
Like on the inside it says made in China.
Okay. So, and my thinking was that it wasn't something from Angel's past that he saved, because clearly he was Angel, or whatever the fuck his name was before. Liam? I think it was Liam. Turns into a vampire, and then once he's human again and in love with Buffy, finds something that's reminiscent of something from his past, his culture. Gives her this ring. She loses it at one point. Maybe somebody, I don't know, sells it back to this retro store, and Scott buys it not knowing anything and gives it to her. It's a stretch, but I think it means more, because if it's just something that like, oh, this is another mass-produced thing, it cheapens Buffy and Angel's relationship.
And that's what I'm saying. That from the beginning, that relationship was on rocky water and didn't have a good foundation. And the truth about it is Angel's a total D-bag.
But that's what you want to think because you hate Angel.
Yeah, he's just into 16-year-old girls when he's 250, giving him these fake Spencer Gifts rings and putting him in bed just so he can kill their friends.
I'm still going to say it means more to the episode and to her if it's the actual ring that got purchased and handed back to her.
Yeah, I just think that's a huge stretch. Like, that's more of a stretch to me than there actually being vampires in the real world.
So, yeah, I mean, it is a stretch because it's not explained.
Yeah,
but
and it's also just not in the episodes. We could both be right.
I feel like if I don't have an explanation, it will undo part of their relationship if it's like, hey, this guy just bought it and these are so mass produced. But
yeah, I agree.
Maybe it's just a symbol for the relationship and not the actual ring. Who knows? It's not the one.
Either way,
true ring.
She drops it on the floor like it has AIDS on it, and he's like, "Oh my God, you dropped it on the floor. That means you don't like me, Scott. I mean."
Yeah.
And so she agrees. No, she says, "I'll think about it," or what? What does she say?
I don't remember after that.
I would love to go to the Buster Keaton thing with you.
It just kind of ruins, once he gives her that gift, it kind of ruins everything.
the whole thing, right?
Yeah. Giles stops by and explains that he couldn't get a hold of Faith's Watcher because the Watcher is dead.
And Taquitos killed him.
Yeah. Killed her.
Yeah, killed her.
Female Watcher.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah,
maybe?
I would assume, right? It would have been cool if they brought her back, right? If Taquitos had turned her into a vampire.
Yeah.
And she came back and was like maybe the big bad of the next season, except instead of Adam.
Maybe that's
pretty cool.
Maybe that's part of her trauma. So enter a scumbag motel where Faith is staying.
Exactly, and the landlord's in a room, right? Bitching to her about the rent.
You're one of the dudes from Mr. Show.
Yeah. That guy feels like he's been an extra in so many things.
He's acted a lot. Not, I wouldn't say extra because he has bit part.
Yeah.
Right. But he does a lot of writing. I think he's a writer on what's that Scott Aukerman show?
Big Bang or Bang Bang Bang?
Yeah.
What is it called?
I've drawn a blank, but yeah, that
Comedy Bang Bang.
Comedy Bang Bang.
Bang Bang Bang.
So he's on that show a lot and he writes for it. But yeah, he's harassing. Well, I don't know if he's harassing. He just wants her to pay.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, hey, man, it's every day. Like, it's $41 every day, not just once. And she's like, well, blah, 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 you're such a good manager. He's like, no, if I listen to broads like you. Yeah.
He's a nice guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, he
said
allows
broad,
her.
it's weird.
He says broads, but at the same time, lets her stay. Didn't ask her for sex, which I thought, I totally... Didn't you think that was going to come?
He looked like the type of dude that would...
like that would totally be like, well, you can pay me other ways. Like, I was expecting that to come out of his mouth, and then it didn't. So I was like, oh, well, good on you, man.
Do you think maybe they're like, we can't go down this road right now?
Put that episode, like...
Yeah. So anyway, he leaves. Buffy shows up, starts talking to Faith about her Watcher and Kakistos, and you finally start to see that Faith is vulnerable.
Not just vulnerable, like super duper scared and in complete flight mode. And the whole thing is that this act of a tough chick has just been completely an act. Yeah.
And well, I wouldn't say like completely, because I imagine that is part of her personality. Mm-hmm. But she, at the beginning, it seems like she's indestructible. She can do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody's in awe of her. She looks like the cool Slayer. Like the Slayer with style. But
it's kind of nice to see Buffy be there for Faith momentarily.
And also realize that she's just as vulnerable as Buffy is, which is what I think Buffy was trying to find in the first place. Like something kind of to connect her to Faith. And because Faith was seemingly putting on the facade of a badass, it was hard to connect to her. So now that she sees a vulnerability, Buffy being like the fucking most vulnerable crybaby on the show. Sorry.
Damn, dude.
Way too far, huh?
I understand what you're saying, but...
it's like, oh, she's vulnerable. I'm vulnerable. Let's talk.
It's like, try to stab somebody through the heart that you love and see how much you cry about it.
Been there. I'm good.
Okay.
Just kidding.
So shortly after that, Kakistos and a bunch of vampires break into Faith's hotel room, which I brought up. Can they do?
I think it's a public space. Like it's not like nobody really owns a hotel room, right?
I guess so. I don't know. I guess I thought of it as once you're there, it's yours and you have to be invited.
Maybe.
Because
I think you might be right. At the same time, also Angel points out that when he goes into the school, he says like "Enter Liberatus" or whatever. Like he says the Latin is what invited him inside.
Yeah, because what I was thinking, well, what is a hotel? What's the difference between a hotel and a house? A house you pay for and you make it a home. How do you make it a home? And how does this barrier work?
If you poop somewhere, that is now protected.
So you're saying that Faith, who probably doesn't have a lot of money, hasn't eaten, has not pooped there. and that's why
Yeah.
the vampires
She
were
hadn't
able
pooped
to.
yet. Yeah, no.
Okay, sure. Right on.
That's why.
So
That, or maybe she hadn't stayed there long enough.
they all
Oh, no.
Yeah. They all break in. Buffy tries to stop them. They run out through the window and go down through the factory area.
The factory area of
The factory
hotel?
district
Yeah.
of yeah.
So they run through the factory and...
They end up in Kakistos' lair.
Yeah, because right in the factory.
Yeah, it's somewhere pretty close.
Yeah.
Because Sunnydale's small, yet ginormous.
Ginormous. It encompasses all. It's kind of like the House of Leaves.
Yeah,
Like
it just
grows
and grows and grows.
Like normal house, but then there's a door that goes to infinity.
I gotta reread that book.
Whole concept is so incredibly mind-numbing to me that it's terrifying.
I gotta have more time, and then I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, that book is very, very...
It's tough to read because of the
Footnotes.
multiple narrations.
Yeah.
Narrators.
Going back in and out. I miss it. I really enjoyed reading that book for the first time. It's kind of like the never-ending story for me.
So, like, literally.
Like, I was like reading it like that stupid kid Bastion, like pretending like it really happened. And Atreyu was there.
But not in the factory where Buffy is there.
Oh, yeah, podcast.
Where Buffy is there with Faith, and they're fighting Kakistos.
Taquitos. Yeah, and so, like, they're fighting him, and there's another vampire there, and she is fighting Buffy. All of a sudden, Kakistos is about to kill Faith, so Buffy leaves that vampire. Trick comes in and goes like, hey, I think we should... if we don't help him, he's gonna die. Talking about taquitos, and then he's like, "Well, that's his loss. And these revenge plots are stupid, and they could get us killed. I'm a modern vampire. Let's get the fuck out of here."
I love that line. I love the way he says it because it's just like he's like super cool. It's like these vengeance crusades are out of style. Like that's just the epitome of Trick to me.
I know who he reminds me of now. Arsenio Hall.
Because of the mustache?
No, just like the whole like attitude. It's like if Arsenio Hall had become a vampire.
Was he in a vampire movie?
Probably the
one with Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, Vampire in Brooklyn.
Huh.
I would imagine so, right?
They were boys.
Yeah, or just like you're thinking of that scene with him in a bow staff in Coming to America. He's kind of like vampire-y. I don't know. Jumping around all over the place. That kind of reminds me of a vampire for some reason.
Okay, sure, yeah. So that happens. Trick leaves, like super cool, casual way. When we get this lackluster, the whole fight scene was kind of lackluster to me.
It was incredibly lackluster.
Very quickly, which is...
Buffy stabs him twice with a regular stake, and that doesn't do anything.
And Faith grabs, what is it, like a pillar that has been broken.
Like the beam of a building, the pillar broke in half, and she picks it up and just kind of slides it in him.
Yeah, and it did not look good.
No, I think that was a problem. I think that the cut was so sloppy and so anticlimactic because it must have been hard to do, and they must have only gotten one clear shot of it, and it was so cheesy looking that they had to get through it quick.
But even then, the fight scene before that is kind of boring.
The guy was very slow.
Before the 2 episodes we've seen before, and there's an epic fight scene in the Hell Dimension with the Hell regional manager. And then the next episode, we get the zombie fight scene, which it's a whole house party with zombies, which is cool. This one, I don't know if they packed the episode with so much faith and Trick and everything else, they didn't have the time for it.
Yeah, they Spider-Man 3'd it.
It didn't seem satisfying to me.
Very lackluster. I think it would have been a lot better if they had done that practically instead of... I guess it felt like a CGI move, but it also felt like a camera trick where like they just put the pole next to the guy kind of thing, like put it under his arm and film it from this side, It just kind of just slipped right through it. There was no blood or anything out the back, and he just turned into ashes like a regular vampire, and you were expecting a little bit more. Like the master
skeleton,
turns into that skeleton and looks all, not badass.
Because he's supposed to be this epic vampire,
but there's nothing. He just turns to dust like every other vampire.
Wasn't very satisfying, but ultimately I'm okay with it.
It gets you there.
Yeah, she kills him, she has some sort of piece from that, right?
You cut to the library.
Yeah. What happens in the library?
Giles is being, I guess, told about Faith's stuff, right? Like, he's being debriefed of what happened with Taquitos.
Yeah.
And Faith, and how Faith reacted. And she's basically saying, like, oh, well, she's better now. You know, she worked through her shit. And then right after
just like
that,
her with the master.
Yeah.
And we get to find out through some more exposition, like, oh, I talked to, like, Watchers Council, whatever the fuck Giles said, but Faith can stay here. So we know, like, she'll be here for a while.
She's now special guest, she's now a special guest on the show.
I like the first one. Special guest.
She's now a special guest.
She's now special guest.
Extra potatoes and vodka every night.
I feel like I've gone off about you doing accents and, like, cut it out through, like, editing. But now that you're not doing them, I'm, like, asking you to do accents. That's weird. Do I miss it?
Maybe you miss it. Can I tell you? I'm not in the mood today.
You're done. You're just done.
No. Like, when I was trying to do Snyder, I was very forced earlier.
Oh.
Yeah. When you ask, it's kind of like when people ask me, like, hey, Eddie, your laugh is obnoxiously loud. Can you laugh for me real quick? And I'm like, ha, 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 ha.
Laugh for my own amusement.
I can't do it on command. If it's, I'm the king of organic.
See, but impressions are different. Asking you to laugh on command for somebody's own amusement is a weird fucking thing.
Yeah,
right?
Laugh, monkey. Laugh, you little monkey boy.
We're in the library.
And then Buffy drops a bombshell, right?
Yeah.
She turns around and she's like, kind of inspired by Faith overcoming her adversity.
Faith's ability to move on. She
says,
takes a cue from that.
Hey guys, so when I killed Angel, turns out that he was already a good guy again, and so I had to kill the person I loved.
Which is a super epic moment.
Super huge, like to the point where Giles and Willow are speechless. They have nothing to say, and they realize, like, holy shit, she's been keeping this in, and this is why she left. This is why she's, like, dealing with all this stuff, and nobody is able to help her. As many people as she has around, she's completely alone. But
in a way, Giles was. He made her. He forced her by this.
He forced her to come back into the Scoobies.
And then we get that little scene afterwards where it's Willow and Giles essentially is like, there is no spell.
Yeah, so Willow's like, hey, I can still help you with that spell. Like, I can really help. I'm a super duper witch. And he's like, Willow, there is no spell. I've been making that up to try to find out what, was bothering Buffy. Which I think, in my opinion, he knew that was what happened with Buffy.
I still want to think he knew something was up. Maybe not that, but I can entirely see that too. I think there's enough there that he could piece it together.
Piece it together because he's such a smart guy. Some episodes.
And I also wouldn't have liked something. It's like, I knew. I pieced it together because I'm Giles and I'm smart.
I like it more
that you don't know.
Unsaid. Yeah, that's way better.
What an awful way to end it. It would just ruin it.
He takes off his glasses like, I knew all along. Just this fucking raging pretension boner. Just, oh my God. Giles, put it away, man.
Yeah.
I like that moment right after he says, Willow, there is no spell, and they pan back to Willow. I think that would have been a great ending to the episode if they didn't absolutely need, for what happens after that is totally necessary. Like, they have to have it happen. So, and it is a better way to end the episode because it's totally like cliffhanger.
So that could be a great ending. I have another scene that happens right after that, and all I wrote was Scott School, and I have no idea what the fuck happens.
Oh, she goes back up to Scott, right? And she's all like, hey, so I know that I dropped that ring and made that super awkward, but I would love to go.
There we go. She makes it all better.
Yeah, I would love to go see that Buster Keaton movie with you. And he's all like, I have to really think about this. And turns around, is like, I thought about it.
It's so nerdy. It's so geeky.
Like that fucking, hey, this is Eddie. You reached Eddie. Oh, sorry, it's a machine, you fucking doof-ass. Like, got you. Fucking hate people like that.
I think I
hate this guy.
I acknowledge the scene is necessary, but I think I disliked it so much. I was like, yep, Scott School. Another one of those.
This guy is just like the Dickinson guy. Like, I hope this guy gets fucking picked up by the fish monsters and gets raped.
He's generic and super boring, at least right now. So that leads us into the last scene of the episode, which is Buffy going back to the mansion with the ring, which may or may not be one of many.
It could either be a cheap gift from Spencer's. I keep saying Spencer's because I just miss it so much. Or it could be the actual ring passed through pawn shops and whatnots back into Buffy's hands.
Who knows? I think
she puts it on the ground and walks away, signifying that she's over the fact that he's dead and she's moving on. But as soon as she leaves, rumble, Zelda, like I guess,
the I can't do it.
Like the
sounds like a turkey.
Gobble, 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 and then like shine sunlight, like a tube sunlight, and Angel kind of floats.
A beam
down.
of light. Well, he falls down.
Oh yeah, plop. Like
sweaty
that.
and naked.
Oh, so sweaty. You think that was like actual water, or do you think they oiled him up?
I think he just showed up to set like that. He probably had on one of his long coats, and they're like, no, we don't need the coat for this scene. He took it off, and he was just naked, and he was already sweaty. They're all perfect.
Yeah. They're like, hey, can you do like 10 push-ups?
You get to see some, maybe angel butt. It could have been
no angel butt.
Yeah, there was.
There was?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I missed it.
You did.
I'm going to have to do it again.
I wonder if it was a stand-in or if it was actually David Boreanaz.
I'll find out for you.
I've been jerking off to it, and I still can't tell, but I like it. Yeah, so what did you think about the episode overall?
I liked it. I think it, like you said, it had too much going on. Like there was just like a plethora of bad guys and a lot happening. But with very little, they got a lot out of you. You know, like for me especially, like I armchair psychologist the fuck out of Faith, and you just kind of pull stuff out of her, right?
I love that too. I love your explanation of it.
That's fun, and I like doing that. But at the same time, I think that could have been the episode, and it didn't really need the Taquitos guy.
I guess you do because it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and particularly season 3. I think when we get to like 5 and 6, particularly 6, we'll have episodes where it's not even subplot. It's not about the well, here it's not about the monster. It's never about the monster.
But at the same time, you actually need Conquistos to explain like the Faith thing. I think the guy that was kind of Exis was Trick. Like it wasn't really necessary in the episode, except for to introduce him for later episodes.
You're right.
I enjoyed him too.
I liked him because he was, like we were saying, a different type of vampire than we're used to seeing. Mm-hmm. I liked him as a character. I liked the introduction of Faith. Mm-hmm. The Conquistos thing is necessary, but you don't really get the sense that he's this like awesome vampire that killed, I don't know, Faith's Watcher and all sorts of... it felt like Conquistos was the master to Faith. Mm-hmm. But it didn't seem as epic because it was over so fast. And I don't know if this needed to be a two-parter. It could have been just another shit two-parter. But I liked Faith, and I liked everything that came with Faith in this episode. I liked these ideas of moving on. Buffy about Angel, Faith about what's happened to her in her life. I liked the ending because it rounds it out. She's moved on, but no, not yet. She can't. Mm-hmm. Because of Angel. I like all that.
Neither one of them can't, right? Because while Faith has moved on, all of these things that she's gone through ends up sealing her fate as the Dark Slayer.
And it's like the nature of moving on. You can move on from one thing, but you still, in a way, hold that? Or that's a part of you? You
can take a horse to water, but you can't scrub off a zebra's stripes.
No, okay, sure. Let's. Yeah. So yeah, I really liked the episode. I think the only thing I didn't like about it was I got used to seeing these past 2 episodes with great action scenes, and I liked them.
Action scenes lackluster in this one.
It was very minimal. It was over too fast, but I think it's necessary because there is so much to unpack with this episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so anything else you want to talk about? Faith, Trick, talked about the theme, moving on. I don't know if I really I do have one thing to say about Trick. Mentioned it earlier. I love that he killed 2 people from fast food. They were like fast food servers.
Yeah, that was pretty... And it's kind of fun. Turn people in Happy Meals the way Spike was like raving on about it. Treating people like walking Happy Meals.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm excited to see... I already know what happens with Faith, but just from this episode, I'm excited to see what happens and what we remember and what more we can gather from it. Because this whole... We already knew Faith was super sexual and that was part of her, but I think we're unraveling more that maybe we didn't
see before.
First time or even like 10 years ago, because we rewatched this like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Or like, I think we've both rewatched it during different parts of our life.
I've rewatched it a lot, but I would say that this time I'm watching a way that I've never watched before.
Yeah.
Sometimes with pen in hand, and sometimes not.
Then again, we're talking about it for at least an hour every week.
Yeah.
Something else I noticed, it seemed... We'll see if this happens in season 4, but the 3rd episode seems to bring about new villains, new people that will continue through the season. Mm-hmm. Season 2, it was Drusilla and Spike. This time, it's Faith and Trick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see. We'll have to keep note and see if that happens in 4.
That makes sense in 4. I don't know. We'll find out. Yeah. What about the deaths?
So the deaths. Let me count them real fast. There were a total of 9.
9? That's a high number. It
Faith,
feels like.
Yeah. Faith kills 2 vampires.
Mm-hmm.
She kills the Casey and the Sunshine Band dude. Mm-hmm. And Conquistos. Taquitos.
Doritos.
Buffy kills 4. So she's still... I was wondering, because I didn't remember if they were going to do... Yeah. If Faith was going to get more kills than Buffy, but no.
Dude.
She's a slayer.
Buffy is the slayer.
She kills 4. Trick kills 2 humans.
Conquistos.
And Taquitos kills 1.
Yeah. So that's a pretty high episode. Lots of kills.
Yeah.
Bad action. Good kills.
Yeah. An enjoyable episode.
Absolutely.
Do you know what's next?
Yes. I think it's called Beauties and Beasts.
Is it?
Or something like that. I didn't actually write it
Is
down.
it Beauty and the Beast? Or is it Beauties and Beasts?
I think it's Beauty and the Beasts.
Okay. And the Beasts?
Beauty and the Beast? Is it called Beauty and the Beast?
I don't know.
Should we look this up real quick?
We're second guessing.
Fuck it. It's something about Beauties and Beasts.
Yeah.
Right? And it's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde episode.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was another Oz werewolf one.
No, this is the one where the whole reason Scott's around. He's like, hey, these are my other 2 friends you've never met before at this tiny little high school. And he's all like, yeah, hey, I'm a good guy. But in reality, he's beating the shit out of his girlfriend and like taking stuff that makes his vein look like dicks.
That's right. Fuck, I don't really remember. Oh, and then at the end, that's when Buffy realizes Angel's back because he saves the day as like a feral beast.
They're blaming everything. Oh, well, I think she finds out that Angel's back during the episode. And people are dying, and she thinks it's Angel, and she thinks she's going to have to kill him again. And then she finds out that it's Mr. Hyde, and Angel saves her at the end.
Okay, it's coming back.
Yeah. Spoiler alert!
It's coming back to me. It's coming back to me.
Yeah, it was a good episode, I remember. We'll find out, though. Makes me hate Scott even more.
Yeah.
Makes me also just wonder how many more people there are in this school that Buffy doesn't know.
Yeah. Ask me how I'm feeling.
How do you feel?
I'm 5 by 5, B.
Oh, God damn it.